afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
Oh, hi. Hi, Brenna. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maxine.
Welcome to Senior Life Online. Please visit our website. We have a website. Maxine is diligent on keeping that up to date. Sign up for our newsletter and suggest future projects if you think, Vinny, that you think we might be able or might be appropriate for us. Donations are always welcome, tax-deductible donations. And we're an all-volunteer group of seniors. Nearly 100% of our donations received are used to directly help seniors living in the area. We bought automatic electronic defibrillators for Montevalli and Spring Lakes Park, an exercise machine for Montevalli, patio umbrellas for the Scotts Valley Senior Center. When we can, we do 2 to 3 free workshops for the public for seniors annually on the topic of senior health. We also are supporting the Scotts Valley Performing Arts Center that they're working on, and we're working with Scotts Valley students. And hopefully we can all get together so students and seniors can interact and work on projects together. This presentation will be recorded. If you don't want to be recorded, there are ways to disable the video feed, so check in if that's an issue. And today we welcome the Santa Cruz SPCA 101 with Maria Porras and Brenna Ewing. Welcome.
Okay, you guys can take it away.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for your lovely introduction of your organization too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right. So Maria's going to be my PowerPoint person, so I'll just let her know when we need to move on with slides. But for those of you who are or aren't familiar with us, the Santa Cruz SPCA is a nonprofit. We're located in Santa Cruz, and our name means the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, which is kind of a mouthful. So we usually just say Santa Cruz SPCA. And SPCAs and humane societies exist all over the country. We are not linked in any way. We're all individual organizations. Some are run by government, some are like us, nonprofit. We just happen to share the name of SPCA. And again, we are run by donations only. We're completely nonprofit. And that is by donors in our immediate area. So not only do we get the funds to run the agency that way, but we also get everything we use here, such as the food, the towels, the collars and leashes, the toys, everything we get and use in the shelter is donated by the community. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think of SPCA, is this what you see? Usually, right? So
Yeah.
of course we have animals, but we have so much more going on than that, most of it out in the community. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about those programs that benefit the community, as well as how you can get involved in them if you want to. Or, you know, if you have friends that can benefit from the programs, you can share the information and know a little bit about us. Go ahead. Okay, so first I just wanted to explain where our animals here at our shelter come from. They come from us 2 ways, either owner surrender. So if someone needs to give up their cat or dog for whatever reason, we go ahead and take them in. And we also take animals from larger shelters all over California, especially those that don't have as many options or as many resources as we do. So some of the local shelters that we work with, Santa Cruz County Animal Shelter, Monterey, Salinas, we even go as far down south as Southern California, kind of wherever the need is greatest. And a lot of the animals we take are animals that they would not have been able to place for adoption for a myriad of reasons. Sometimes it's behavior related. Sometimes the animal has medical stuff that they don't have the resources to work on. We take a lot of older animals because they're harder to place. And we sometimes just take animals for space if they're getting overloaded with incoming. So Yeah, we get animals a couple of different ways. So what do we do when they get to us? When they first come into the shelter, we of course have to give them any immediate medical needs that haven't been met either by their owner or at the shelter, and especially things that will help keep them safe in our shelter. So they get a medical evaluation with our veterinarian. We have 2 vets that we work with, Chanticleer Vet Hospital, which is right down the road from us. And we also have a contract veterinarian, Dr. Chad Alves, who is here every Friday and does medical rounds with our shelter manager. So they all get evaluated. They all get basic flea and tick, basic worm care, basic vaccines. And that way they're ready to come into the shelter environment and then potentially go up for adoption. And then once they've done their medical piece, they get evaluated for adoption. And really what that means is our behavior coordinator gives us a breakdown of what kind of home these dogs or cats might fit into. And that really helps us with our matchmaking. So we rely on her expertise to kind of guide us when we're trying to place an animal. And the color codes here that you see, green, blue, orange, and red, when we're housing animals here, they're all listed via these color codes. And that gives our volunteers and our staff a little bit of an idea of what behavior level they are. So all of our volunteers are color coded like the animals, so they know who they can work with. And green and blue just means most of the time that they're friendly and easygoing. Blue is for only minor behavior concerns. Maybe they're a little bit shy or they like to bark at bikes, things like that. Orange means they do have some behavior challenges. And so when volunteers and our behavior coordinator are working with them, they're doing behavior modification every time. And that's to try and make them more adoptable. And then red means they have developed in their home or out in the world some pretty specific or significant behavior challenges, and they may pose a bite risk. So it's typically only staff or very high level volunteers that have gone through some long-term training who are able to handle these guys. Rare that we get a red, but every once in a while, and we will continue to work on their behavior while they're with us. So we're never not trying to work on that behavior modification. Go ahead. A lot of folks ask us if we are a no-kill shelter. And technically we are not. We actually don't like to use the terminology no-kill because our partner shelters, we work as a team, and we feel like the no-kill terminology is very divisive among shelters, and we don't want to put a damper on all the work that we're doing. So we really try to make sure that we're supporting each other and that we're working towards the same goals, because we really are. We rarely have to euthanize animals, but it does happen. We don't have a time limit that animals can be here. In fact, we just did an adoption for a cat named Pluto, and Pluto had been in a foster home for a full year. So, we do believe that there's someone out there for every animal. But yeah, we don't have a time limit, so they can stay with us as needed, and as long as they're staying healthy and social and non-stressed. And that may be in the shelter or it may be in a foster home. If we do have to euthanize an animal, it's typically because they have a health issue, which makes their quality of life poor from then on, and we don't feel like it's okay to keep them alive, or they have a behavior that we have not been able to successfully modify. And putting them back out there would potentially cause someone to get hurt, or even an animal to get hurt. All right, thank you. So there's 2 shelters in our community, and I think you guys will be talking with Santa Cruz County Animal Shelter at some point as well. So awesome. I'm glad you're interested in finding out about both. They are one of our wonderful partners, and they are an open door shelter. They have to take in every animal that comes to them. And that doesn't just include cats and dogs. That's horses and pigs and lizards and snakes and guinea pigs and bunnies, all those pets under the sun. If they don't have a place to go, we'll go to them. And our job is to try to support them so that they have room to breathe, right? So they don't have too many animals. And so if they do have animals that they're struggling with working with or don't have resources for, we can step in and help. So we're regularly communicating with them pretty much week by week, just to make sure that we're providing them support. Someone had asked a question about licensing, and it is a county law. If you have a dog, you have to have them licensed. Cats don't have to be licensed. So if you have a kitty, you don't have to license your cat. But for dogs, they do. We don't do it here. It's actually done through Santa Cruz County Animal Shelter. And the requirement, if your dog is unlicensed, basically you can be cited and fined. So you see that $100 fine. So it is important to have it. The reason they want you to do it is basically they're trying to keep a gauge on who's been rabies vaccinated and who has been spayed or neutered. That's an important piece for keeping our animal populations down. And for you guys, I think for senior licensing, you guys probably don't even have to pay a fee. I'm not 100% on that, but I think I remember reading that for senior licenses, when you're over a certain age, they will not charge you a fee any longer. So even if you're worried about having to get this license, just know that it may not even cost you. So that makes it a little bit easier, right? Okay, so how we do our matchmaking. Right now, because of COVID, everything we do is online. We're actually not open to the public just yet. We're sort of in the planning stages of how we're going to do that now that we're moving into orange and eventually yellow, we hope. So when folks are interested in an animal, they can fill out an online adoption application and actually write the name of the animal at the top. They can also put in an adoption application anytime for any dog or any cat, maybe a kitten or a puppy, and they can write that at the top so we kind of know what they're looking for. Once we get those applications and match them with the animal that they have interest in, then we just kind of start going through to see, okay, who here has a good match, who has a home which will make it the most successful for this animal and for the person. And you know, it can take some time because we may go through 5 or 6 different people. Just to give you guys an example, we have a dog named Honeybee right now, who's a little Chihuahua, and she has met, I think, 4 or 5 adoptive families, and none of them have felt like it was the right fit. So we're now on number 6, I think. We're hopeful that one day we're going to find the right match for her, but sometimes it can take a while. So they come in and they meet the animal. And then when they take the animal with them, if they decide to do that, we do what's called a foster to adopt. And that gives them anywhere from, 3 days to a week or a week and a half to make sure it's the right fit in their home. Because as you all know, once you get an animal in your home, and even if you have other animals, it can be tough to see how they're going to do unless you're in your environment. So this is a good way for people to kind of try it out, see if it's a good fit. And if it's not, they can bring the animal back and we can try with a different animal. Or if it is, then they can complete the adoption and they don't even have to bring the animal back in. And the adoption happens all virtually. So we talk on the phone, we send you some paperwork to sign, and we send you a packet of info in the mail with all the animal's information. So pretty easy to get it done. We definitely look at the following things that are listed here. We always want to see, what your setup is. How big is your home? Does it match the dog or cat you're looking for? What's your time like? Do you have time for this particular animal energy level? Who else lives in your home and how that animal does with those folks? What types of enrichment or exercise do you plan to provide on any given day? And also what you're looking for. Do you want a social butterfly? Do you want a cuddle buddy? We don't always have exactly what people are looking for. So it may take us, I know we have some clients we've worked with where we've tried to fit them with a couple animals and it wasn't the right match. So we sort of keep them on the back burner, remembering that, okay, they're looking for this type of dog or this type of cat. And then when that animal comes in, we might reach out to them first and say, hey, we finally got one that we think is going to fit. Let's try it. So we really take the time to try to match make these guys because we want it to be successful for the person and the people and the animal. Okay, you can go. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the other options. So adoption is one of our biggest, but we have a lot of other programs that benefit the community. And one is the Blackies Fun Wellness Wednesdays. And we offer a couple of different things via this program. This is a restricted fund, which means people donate directly to it. And so when COVID wasn't happening, we were holding a free clinic for seniors twice a year. So seniors could apply to come into the clinic and get, things done for their animals at no cost. There were some limits on what we could do, but it was mostly routine care that was happening. So this is something that could benefit folks like you and folks in your community who are having trouble with veterinary fees, because we know that's pretty high. And if you're on a fixed income, then it makes it really tough. So we're hoping to open those back up, not this year, but in the coming year. And besides that, things that are still happening on a regular basis, you can do two things. So one, you can apply for what we call our Seniors for Seniors adoption program. So if you're looking at an animal who is 7 years or older, we would consider that a senior animal. And there is no adoption fee for you if you feel like it's the right match. So that's an option. You can get free adoption through us, assuming it's a senior. And then also, if you're in need of veterinary care right now, and since we don't have our clinics going on, you can also apply for a veterinary care grant, and you can get those applications just right off of our website. And it kind of gives you the breakdown of what the grant would cover. And it doesn't ask you for a lot. I think it just asks you for like a proof of some sort of proof of income. But, again, this gives you an option to pursue if we're not able to offer the clinics, which is, right now we're not, unfortunately, but we're hoping to get back to it. I promise. We want to make that happen again because we know it's so needed. Okay. We also have a really high-level humane education program that Maria and I do throughout the community. So from North to South County, we visit about 5,000 to 6,000 kids a year. And we do in-classroom programs, and we'll go into a little more detail about the programs that we have here on site. But we also offer the veterinary care assistance for seniors. We have a food bank, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about in just a sec. And then we have a program called Peaceful Paws, and you'll see the picture right on the left here. This is of our awesome volunteer, Mary Barr. She has been bringing Sweet Pea, one of our dogs, who's basically now hers, to visit, I think she visits 7 or 8 care homes on a weekly basis. And they get to hang with Sweet Pea, and Sweet Pea just sits on their lap and loves the attention. So it's just a nice way for us to be involved with the community and offer them, especially for folks living in the care homes who don't have family who can visit them. This really gives them someone to touch base with, both Sweet Pea and Mary, because Mary's one of our super kind volunteers. So she just loves talking to people too. Okay. So our classroom presentations, we teach pre-K through 12th grade on a variety of curriculum that is all within the Common Core. And we teach everything from dog safety to animal uses in society to careers with animals. We really expand the gamut on our curriculum. And that's, again, how we visit between 5,000 and 6,000 kids a year, is mostly in classroom. And it's free. We don't charge the teachers anything. A lot of times they're nice enough to give us a donation, but we don't charge them for the time. We love to go out and talk with the kids. We really spend most of our time in South County, and we're trying to get more into our North County as well, up into the mountains, because those are the communities that don't have as much access to resources and can really benefit from learning about what's available to them and learning about animal care. And we are doing virtual right now. It's not the same. We miss the kids terribly. Of course, we see them on the screen via Zoom or Google Meets. But hopefully by next year, they'll be able to welcome us in again. They are starting school in public schools right now, but I don't think they're going to be ready to have visitors this year. It'll probably happen next year. We also have a very very vibrant volunteer program. Our volunteers help us in so many different ways. And this one in particular that you're looking at on the screen is our junior and special needs program. So we have a junior program called Pause and Community Service Saturdays, which are just having their very first in-person programs happening this month in April. It's been that long that we haven't been able to welcome them into the shelter. So we're excited to have them in again. And they do everything that a normal volunteer would do. They are walking dogs, they're taking cats out. We teach them about basic grooming. We teach them about basic dog training. We also have them help us with projects around the shelter, like beautifying and weeding and cleaning the windows and things like that. So they get really a piece of all aspects of our shelter environment and our shelter work. And it is a program that serves students age 7 through 15, because when they're 16, they can actually become a general volunteer. And most of them do stick with us through the junior programs into becoming their own volunteer and maybe even further in other programs. And then our special needs groups, we have special needs volunteers that come in on their own or with an aide. And then we also work with some very specialized groups that bring like a group of 4 or 5 with them when they come. And they all work as a team. So they'll walk a couple of dogs together, or they'll sit in the cat room and do a little cat TLC. And it's like their favorite thing every week. So we try to keep really strict to a schedule so that they have something they can regularly look forward to. And, you know, we don't throw off their schedule a ton because that can be really stressful. We also have a reading program called Rescue Readers. So students can come in and read to the animals. And we do Girl Scout badges. So Girl Scouts can do projects for us. They can earn their pet care badges here. They can even just come for a tour if they want to do that. They're always welcome, and we love working with Scouts. We do hold a summer and winter kids camp, and this is the first time we're going to be able to have it in the shelter this year, which is awesome because before we always had it off site because our old shelter was so tiny. Now we have a brand new nice shelter, so we're able to welcome them in-house, and it'll be smaller than we would normally do because, again, COVID, we've got to start small and kind of work our way up. So we're looking at 4 weeks this summer of summer camp, probably in July. And during the week that kids come to camp with us, they really get like inundated with animal information. I mean, we don't just talk about pets, we talk about all kinds of animals, and we talk about the environment, and they get to do a lot of hands-on stuff to help them learn. Everything we do is very experiential, so that they're learning by doing. It's not like a lecture format where it's very rote learning. It's more about getting involved and learning it hands-on. That way they're going to remember it and it's going to have an impact on them. We have a pet food pantry. If you guys weren't knowledgeable of this, it is an awesome thing that allows folks to come to us every week and get free food and free supplies. We do it every Friday from 3:30 to 5:30. And we also deliver across the community. So we regularly deliver to Salvation Army, we go to Twin Lakes, Community Connection, and a few other areas that are much smaller but still have a need. So we have volunteers right now who are making the bags, who are doing the transport for us, even running our pet food pantry. And it's been especially important during COVID, just as people are maybe losing their job or losing their housing and still want to hang on to those animals. This gives them a regular option to do that because they can get both food and supplies to keep them going. And that's what we're working toward, is trying to make it so that animals can stay with their people. And then here's Mary with Sweet Pea doing Peaceful Paws. She was on hold for a good long while because of COVID, but she's gearing up to go back in now, which will be awesome because I know they really miss her. And this is just one of the things we want to keep going, even, you know, later on down the line. But for now, Mary and Sweet Pea are the ones doing it for us, which we really appreciate it. We also offer an Ask the Dog Trainer class, and this can be, right now it's mainly by phone, again, because of COVID, but Petra, who's our behavior coordinator, is a certified dog trainer. And so she can take questions from either people who've adopted or just anyone out in the community who's having needs in terms of working with behavior modification in their own animals. And so she usually gets about 5 to 10 calls a month that she's working on. And in some cases, she might even go out to someone's home and assist them hands-on if it's a really troubling case and they need the assistance. So she is willing to do house calls. These are some of our partners. I don't think we could list all of our partners, but one of the things that we really rely on is donation because, again, we're nonprofit. So getting donations from Bed and Biscuits or from Pet Pals, that really helps keep our pet food pantry going. And then when we do events, we actually ask for donations from some of these larger places like Nordic Naturals or, our own vet, Chanticleer Vet Hospital. And these guys are nice enough to help us in a myriad of ways, whether it be being part of our human race or having us come on site and show off adoptable animals at their market. But we love our community partners. They really help keep us out there and keep our adoptables out there so that we can get them placed quickly. So here's a couple of ways that you guys can get involved if you so choose. We're always looking for more volunteers, and we just finished reorienting our existing volunteers because we moved into this space in December of 2020, and we're still learning. We're still trying to get used to this brand new, beautiful shelter. So we reoriented about 125 existing volunteers over the last couple months. And we are going to be opening new volunteer orientations, hopefully sometime in April. So you guys can come on board if you're interested. You can learn how to socialize with animals. We have this awesome job called Essential Shelter Help. They help our animal care team in the mornings and the evenings. They prepare diets and they help clean and they help do potty walks. One of our most favorite things of all of our volunteers is foster. And that's when you're taking an animal into your home to make it more adoptable. And Maria and I, we developed an online foster training so that we trained over 200 fosters during the quarantine. So we are always open to having more because we do online training every month. So if you'd like to join us, whether that be via volunteer or foster, all you need to do is fill out the online application and we'll be in communication with you guys. We will be doing events in the community again at some point, but we're not quite there yet. We're working towards it, I promise. You guys can always donate too. Like I said, we are not only in need of just funds to survive and keep our doors open, but we are in need of in-kind donations, things like gently used towels, blankets. If you have open food bags that you're not going to be using for your pets, we can take those. If you have gently used old collars, bowls, leashes, anything like that, we'll take it. And if we don't use it here, we're going to give it away at our pet food pantry. So it will get used one way or the other by us or by the community. You can also donate an old car if you have one, and that gives you something to give you a little kickback on your taxes. We are 501c3, so anything you donate, you can, of course, put on your tax return. And then we're slowly starting to do shelter tours now. So eventually we're going to open it up and have like a scheduled time on our website, and people can just put themselves in a time and opt to come in for a tour. We are not there yet, but we are starting to get groups in and walking them through. So that is pretty close on the horizon. And then the human race, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the human race, but it's something that happens every year for nonprofits, and they had to cancel it this year just because of COVID. But normally we're out there walking. All the nonprofit groups walk from they walk from the bottom of Westcliff all the way up to the lighthouse and back, and we all get to take animals with us. So it's a really fun event. We're always looking for community members to be a part of it. So hopefully not this year, but next year we'll be able to offer that again. And then this is kind of how you become a volunteer or foster if you're interested in doing that. You go to our website, which is right there, spcasc.org. You can go to Ways to Give or click volunteer and then complete the online application. And then for foster, if you go to our foster page, which is also under Ways to Give, you fill out a separate application and then we contact you about when the next training is. And I think we have one coming up. When's the next, is it 17th, Maria?
We haven't set a date, I believe, but mid to late this month.
Yeah, mid to late April, we're going to have the next one. We usually wait for a number of applicants to come in so that we have a good group of about 20 or so people to draw from. So if you're interested in being a foster, this is your chance to get in and get trained. And then again, for April, we're looking at doing the new volunteer orientations probably later this month. This kind of gives you our guidelines for donations that you can bring us. Like I said, gently use things of all kind pet. So towels, sheets, if you have pet food, even if it's open, if you have cat litter or collars and tags, we'll take it all because we generally use it again here or in our pet food pantry. And then we also have wish lists. If you're ever looking to gift us with what we absolutely need right now, like for example, I just did a tour for a family today who bought off our wish list a bunch of large dog beds. We had like one large dog bed. And so we put out this plea for, oh, we need dog beds. And so this family brought in like 6 or 7 boxes of brand new large dog beds. I wanted to cry. It was awesome. And it's things like that that keep us, like, oh, thank you so much. This is going to make it so much easier for us over these next few weeks. It just makes us so happy. So if you ever want to donate specifically, those are the best places to look at what we need, because we're going to put up on our Amazon wish list and Chewy's wish list, which are both on our website. We put up there what specifically we're looking for right now. And then these are just a few things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I know that a lot of times folks are, maybe they're familiar with body language, but don't always know when they're out in the community what they're supposed to be watching out for and how to stay safe, especially if it's not your own animal. I mean, you know your own animal, but maybe not other people's animals. So this kind of gives you the breakdown of dog body language and the things you want to look out for. Whenever we're meeting a dog out in the community, we never come straight on, because looking at a dog in the eye is a challenge between dogs. So like if a dog looks another dog in the eye, that's as if saying you're challenging them, and it can invoke a response, a bark or a lunge. So what we always do is when we're meeting dogs, we always turn to the side. And usually if it's a nice dog and we've asked someone to meet it, we'll get down low and then we'll just present our hand at our side and wait for them to come to us. Like you don't want to shove your hand right in their face, right? Because then they're gonna be like, ah! You want to wait for them to come to you. And then once they smell you, where do you think is the best place to pet a dog you're just meeting? See if you guys know this. Anybody can, oh, sorry. Anybody got a guess?
How about behind the ears?
Oh, good guess, but actually it's not anywhere around the head. If it's a dog you don't know, you don't want to touch on the head. Most of the time, they're going to be extra sensitive around this area. And once your hand goes like this, they can't see it anymore. And they start to kind of do this thing where they're like, what are you doing? So instead, the best thing you can do is come underneath and like scratch their chest area and then slowly go along their side where they can see where your hand is going. And then once, you feel it's comfortable and they're relaxing, then you can pet them on the back and maybe even the head after that. It just depends. But really with dogs that you're just meeting, you don't ever want to go for the head. I know it's all like our first instinct to do that. So it took us a while to kind of learn, okay, that's probably not the best way to come at them. We're gonna try to go underneath. But this just gives you a breakdown of kind of all the body language to look for. And really what you want to see when you're meeting an animal is you want to see a relaxed, calm, an animal that's coming towards you, right? If they're moving away from you, that's a pretty good sign that they're not interested or they're not ready to meet you. You want them to be relaxed and calm, and you want their body and ears to be relaxed. Their tongue could be hanging out. All those things mean, okay, this animal's feeling comfortable and isn't totally frightened of me. And then this is the cat language, if any of you have cats or experience cats in your community. Cats are a little bit different. Yeah, they definitely are going to want to sniff you, but with a cat, usually what you're going to do is you're not even going to approach them, right? With a dog, you want to go up and like ask the owner, can I meet your dog, and approach the dog. With a cat, you're not going to want to do that. If it doesn't know you, you're just going to want to get down low, put your hand out, and I usually just put a finger out and wait for them to come to you. And if they do and they smell, then they're interested, they're willing to give it a try. And cats actually do like to be pet on the head. It's totally different than a dog. They would rather be pet on the head or behind the ears than on the body, because that is more sensitive for them. And one thing that you guys might have heard or seen in the past is, you know, when cats roll over like this, like if it's your own cat and they show you their belly, with a dog, you know, oh, this dog wants me to pet its belly, right? With a cat, that's not what they're saying. They're essentially saying that they are completely trusting in your presence. And for some cats, if you touch their belly, it's actually an abuse of that trust. And if you've ever had the experience, I know that I have, where you go to pet the belly and the cat's just like, you know, and suddenly you're filled with scratches. So if they do that, really what you want to do is just scratch them on the cheeks or the head, and they'll be perfectly happy with that. But this gives you kind of all of the cat body language and what it means. And you guys are probably pretty familiar with all of these. Really, the best place to tell how a cat is feeling is watching their tail. If their tail is going back and forth really fast like this, or slapping the ground, they're getting really agitated, and there's more of a chance that they're going to try and swipe at you or bite. So, you know, good things to think about with your own cats if you have them, or friends' cats. Just watch that tail and you'll know kind of when they're getting past the point where they're feeling comfortable. All right, you guys, that's our presentation of information. And I hope that it gave you kind of some answers to what some of your questions might be. But of course, we want to open it up too, because there may still be things that you're wondering, what about this? So if you guys have any questions, we'd love to hear those. We love questions.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
I'm Jack. Hi. Great
Hi, Jack.
presentation. Thank you for telling us so much about the SPCA.
Yeah.
You really tell a great story. First, I'm just wondering, in this time of COVID, is demand for adoptions up? Are more people wanting animals? I suspect that was true. Okay.
Yeah, so adoptions are really up. Fostering is really up. The amount of animals needing to come into shelters is really down. So we've been seeing like this up and down, where a week will go by and we'll have no cats. Or, you know, we may have 3 dogs for a month, and we can't find dogs that need to come from anywhere. So it's definitely been different during this time of COVID. Now, there is an expectation that things will change as we start to get into the orange, the yellow, and even further. One of the big things that we're looking at and planning for is that, you know, they keep pushing out the date on the moratorium for rentals and for folks having to come up with their rental fees. So we're expecting there will be people losing their housing, and that they may need to give up their animals at that time. So what we've done is we've created an eviction toolkit for folks, and that gives them a whole list of pet-friendly rental options within all the communities in our county, as well as the option for a grant, a one-time grant that will help them with a pet deposit as well as a pet rental fee, because that's now a thing in addition to the deposit that they often have to pay.
Yeah, well, great. Good for you for helping them. My other question is just, you mentioned something about reading to dogs.
Yes.
I have to ask about what can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we started Rescue Readers just with schools, because we knew there were a lot of struggling readers out there. And sometimes animals, just because it's this non-judgmental audience, it can get the most, you know, scared and non-reader to actually read, because, you know, they're right by this lovely animal who's just giving them support. So we started doing it with schools, and then now we've opened it up just to the community at large. And so students can come in with their family member, and they can go into our cat group room and read to the cats. They can go into, we have another meet and greet space in dogs. So we'll take a dog out and have them sit with the student, and they can read to them in that space. And it usually takes we do about 30-minute visits so that they can do both cats and dogs. And two things. So one, it gives the kid kind of a positive reinforcement for actually doing the reading, which for a lot of kids is a hurdle that they struggle with. And second, it also really affects the animals. And having done it for a couple of years now, I can tell you that you can see the difference, because we all have that kind of monotone voice when we're reading. And just having that while sitting next to that person can often be a huge stress reliever for our animals. So it's really good for the animals and the kids. But you know, it's just fun to watch. We
Right.
love doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions you guys have? Thanks, Jack.
Oh,
I was
I
wondering
had
if you're in the same,
go ahead,
Oh,
George.
sorry. What'd you say, George?
I just wondered if you're in the same location with your new facility.
We are on the same street, but we've moved down towards the cul-de-sac. So we're on Chanticleer Avenue. We're catty corner now. We used to be right across from Gray Bears. Now we're catty corner to Gray Bears at the end of the street. So we still get to go to Gray Bears. We love, all of us here love to go over to their store and look for good deals and drop off whatever we need to give or recycle or whatever. So we love our partner Gray Bears. And we also have Bed and Biscuits next to us, who helps us with grooming, and then Chanticleer Vet, who is one of our contract vets. So it was good for us to stay in this area. This was a good spot to have.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you had a question, Carolyn?
Well, it was just something I wanted to share.
Yeah.
In December 2011, I took my adopted daughter down, and she wanted dogs so badly that we were looking all over. And so we went, and she went outside to look in the the cages. And
Yeah.
I sat in the office, like the old home office there.
Yeah.
And this little Chihuahua, mixed Chihuahua, and another dog was just running around the office, playing real rough and having a good time. And I asked the lady at the desk, I said, "Are they playing or are they being rough?"
Yeah.
And she says, "I'm not sure. I'm keeping my eye on them." and so all of a sudden, this little mixed Chihuahua just stopped in her tracks, looked up at me sitting in the chair, and came over and flew into my lap.
Oh, I love
Well,
it.
I fell in love with her.
Yeah.
So when my daughter walked in the door from looking outside, I said, "Well, how about this one?" And she says, "No," she says, "I'll know when I see it." I said, "Well, then I'm going to have to adopt this one."
So you did?
Well, I told my adopted daughter, I said, "But I'm going to wait one day to make sure this isn't impulsive."
Yeah.
And so the next morning I woke up and I told her, I says, "Yep, we're going to go down and get that little girl." She had
Oh.
been in the SPCA for 6 months.
Oh my gosh, that's a long time.
So the beauty of this story is we walk in, and they had just brought in a stack of a couple of cages with this little guy. He's right here by my side.
Oh.
This is they had just brought in Boy. He had been neutered and he was recovering. And my daughter went over and said, "This is the dog I want." And so we ended up adopting 2 dogs that day.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it's been 8 years, and unfortunately, little Lucy, the little Chihuahua,
Yeah.
she passed away last month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very peacefully. I don't know, just very peacefully. But we still have Boy, and
Oh.
it was such a good experience, and we've just loved them both so much.
Oh, I'm so glad you were able to both find an animal companion. That's wonderful. Thank you for adopting.
Well, you bet. Well, it's funny that the lady at the office said, "Oh, well, we don't adopt 2 at one time." I said, "What?" I said,
What?
We'll pay for both of them. We want both of them. We have a good home for both of them."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm going to challenge your rule here."
Yeah. Good.
And so she did agree that okay.
Maybe this will
And,
work.
Yes, and it surely did work well.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that story.
Absolutely.
We love to hear that about alumni, how they're doing and
Yeah,
what you've gotten from them, having them in your home. So good.
they've just been a real blessing for us
Yeah.
and us for them as well.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Carolyn.
Honeybee is available, Carolyn. So,
Honeybee, yes. Oh,
Uh,
Honeybee, that poor girl. I know we're gonna find her the right place. We just got to keep trying.
oh,
I think what's happened, because we were thinking she'd do good with another dog in the home, because she does like dogs and she likes to play. But I think in a couple of the homes, the dogs that they had weren't comfortable with her.
oh,
Which you can't do anything about that. Like, it's just how it happens. But
sure.
that's why we really do like to do a meet and greet here first, just to kind of see if there's a real aversion. And then once they get them home, they can really try it out and see how it's going. That's why we do the FTA, so they get some time to see if it's a good fit. Any other questions, you guys?
I just have to say, I really admired your PowerPoint.
Oh,
Yes.
It's
that was
whoever put that together is very talented at PowerPoint.
that was mostly Maria. I think it was like, I may have done one thing on there. It's all Maria. So kudos to her.
Thank
Good
you.
job,
That was
Maria.
excellent.
Thank you so much.
Great presentation. I really actually learned about when you said how to pet a cat if he's belly up, because I didn't realize that, because yeah, I've been grabbed a few times too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
I know. And some cats actually are okay with it. It's more rare than not, but the one time that you find out, it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Because they really,
Yeah.
they'll hold on to you and kick you with those back legs. And it's like,
Yes.
ah. All
Quite
right.
a
Well,
shock.
Mostly
what?
kittens love to do that. They
Yeah.
just like to play with kittens.
Yep.
My hand ends up shredded. So yeah.
I know. Been there. So been there.
know.
Oh, I see
Well,
Dave.
thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
you have
you.
your cat? Yeah. Oh, I see Dave's cat. That's a beautiful cat, Dave.
Yay. What's your
What's it-
cat's name, Dave?
This is Bagheera. And Bagheera is in the office right now, making sure everything's okay. And as
Love
he
it.
heard your voices, he was checking you all out. So
Oh, well,
Okay.
he's beautiful.
he's a beautiful cat. He's very nice
Yes.
to me. He's the
All right.
office cat.
Nice. All right, you guys, thank you so much for having us. And if more questions come, feel free to just send us an email and we can answer those too.
Thank you,
Maria,
Brenna and
thank you very
Maria.
much. You did a
Both of
wonderful
you.
job. We
Bye,
really appreciate
guys.
it.
Bye.
Okay.
So much. And this was recorded. So if you know of anybody who might have missed this program, let them know. We're going to post it on our YouTube channel, and Maxine will put links in our newsletter, I'm betting. So,
Very good.
next week, or not week after next, Monday, April 19th, our speaker is Sharon Medler, local fine artist. Right, Maxine?
All right.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, all. Have a nice evening.